NFC midseason recaps. Last episode, if you didn't watch, we went over the AFC midseason recap. Went over each division one by one. So we're gonna follow the same format for tonight's episode. So I guess let's start with NFC North. We got the Seahawks. Who else? Oh no, that's not the North. We got the Lions, Green Bay, Bears, and Vikings. In terms of that division, Lawrence, were we correct? I mean, I want to say for the most part we were spot on.
Well, we're spot on that division. I didn't think Green Bay was going to be all that good. I think you underestimated. No, I don't know. You said Chicago was going to have 2 wins. After tomorrow, Chicago will have 3 wins. So you messed up. You messed up their schedule just a tad bit, but it happens. It happens. We thought the Vikings would be fighting for the wild card spot, in which they are, and we thought Detroit was going to kind of just kick some ass like they're doing right now. So, in my opinion, I think we did really good on this division.
Yeah, I'd say so. My Bears pick, they're pretty much on pace. Honestly, I don't think they're going to win, but I mean that's just me. But other than that, I feel like we were pretty spot on.
I know you say that, but I don't think there's a way that Carolina wins another game this year. So.
I think you have a good chance, especially if Fields doesn't play. I mean, that his backup is not too. He's not the best.
His backup is as good as Bryce Young.
But I mean, there's not too much to say about this division. We knew the Lions were going to be powerhouses. We knew that the Vikings. We didn't foresee JJ going down, and we didn't see Kirk Cousins tearing his Achilles.
Achilles.
So I mean, we'll see. Maybe the Vikings, Josh Dobbs he's like a lower end starter. Like he's definitely a competent backup, but in terms of like starting, yeah, he can start, but we'll see if, at some point if Jefferson can come back, does that mean that they can actually make that push, or, he's just going to have to make do what he has. I don't know. I feel it's going to be really interesting in that aspect.
Yeah, whenever I hear Josh Dobbs, the first thing that comes in my brain is like a Jason Campbell-esque,
Yes. In terms of throwing and running, yeah.
Yeah. He does, if he's on a good team, he does just enough to win some games here and there. On a bad team, he kind of looks good on paper, but they don't win the games. So that was just one of those players I saw as a child that just stuck with my brain, that I've thought, about time to time, because, from the Washington D.C. area, we had to watch Washington Commanders all the time. Jason Campbell was a quarterback for 4 years, so.
Oh yeah, good stretch, yeah. Yeah, so that's the NFC North. We're pretty spot on. Let's do the South, all right? NFC South, your division. The Panthers, unfortunately, 1-7 at the bottom. But we have the Saints, Falcons, and Bucks pretty much still contending for the who's going to win that division.
None of them.
You got nothing.
I mean, it's so painful. I'm repping the jersey today, just kind of throw it out there. I'm still a fan. I'm still loving it, but I'm not loving it. It ain't McDonald's up in here. Tampa Bay is about what I thought they were. 3 and whatever they are. They're exactly what we thought they were. They're gonna fight and stay in games, but in terms of dominating or beating up on a team, that's not possible for them. Saints are highly underachieving, and that's just an understatement. The Saints are just. I think the best way to put it is abysmally good. The Saints are not good, but their record says they're good. It's just their defense is kind of okay.
Yeah, it's hit or miss.
Their secondary is just amazing. Their front is the hit or miss, but their secondary is so good. And the Falcons, I mean, no offense, as a Panthers fan and as an avid hater of the Falcons, if you guys just had a coach, you guys would probably be about
Arthur
6
Smith.
wins.
You don't like Arthur Smith and his mustache?
No, they would have about 6 wins if they didn't have him as the coach.
What is up with Bijan not getting a lot of he started off hot and now they barely give him carries and catches. What is going on?
Because he doesn't use his good players. That's why Kyle Pitts hasn't done anything. He doesn't use what the players and the tools that he has at his disposal. Why would I use my best player on my team when I can use an undrafted free agent instead and make him look good?
Well, at least he finally listened to us, and Taylor Heineke's starting.
Heineke should have started 3 weeks ago.
I agree.
I mean, at this point, if you started Heineke 3 weeks ago, he would have way more chemistry with the team. And you probably would have been a little bit more competitive in these games.
Honestly, you probably had the same record as the Saints, if not a game better.
Exactly, but you had a different coach. You would have had someone already change that already. So, I don't like Arthur Smith. I just think I don't know. He might be just the avid Panther fan, which is the avid Falcon hater. But I just don't think Arthur Smith's a good coach. I also don't think Dennis Allen's a good coach for the Saints. Tampa Bay, honestly, all the coaches in the NFC South suck. They all absolutely suck. Tampa Bay's coach, he's okay. He's not good. The one thing is, his teams are always, they fight hard, they play well. It's just that they're undisciplined. And this is back at his Jets days of coaching. He always had good teams that fought hard, that played hard, and they would always just do a bunch of stupid penalties that cost them games half the time.
Yeah, I mean oh, go ahead.
I still don't understand the whole prevent defense against C.J. Stroud with 42 seconds left. You played Hail Mary prevent defense when they're at the 20. That didn't make any sense. At least you got to pressure them higher. You allowed them to walk down that field because you played prevent. Yeah. And I mean Hail Mary prevent. You thought they were just going to yeet that ball all the way down the field. I know that you don't know that DeMarco Ryans, or is it DeMarco Ryans? We don't know if he's a great head coach or not, but it doesn't take a rocket science to know that if this team is playing prevent Hail Mary defense, let me just throw the ball 20 yards down the field and then have my guy run it for another 15 before someone can even come close to tackling him. In 2 plays, you're at the 20 or 30-yard line. It ain't hard to get in from the 20 or 30 because you actually draw up plays for that. You have plays drawn up to do that. You don't have anything drawn up from the 50-yard line. It's just Hail Mary at that point.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I just think the coaching in that division's bad. The Saints are going to win it just by default, unless the Falcons can stir the pot. I don't believe that Tampa Bay will be coming back.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add. The Falcons should be better. Saints also should be better. Bucks, they're kind of on pace of what I said. I think I had them at 6-11, but they're probably not going to lose 6 more games unless Baker just flames out. But Panthers. We both had high hopes, but it's not looking too good. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on, though. We're going to go NFC. Let's save the East for last because they're kind of interesting. So let's go West. NFC West, we got the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. Cardinals are awful like we expected. Rams, it's more or less like last year. Just injuries are piling up. I kind of feel bad for AD. He re-upped his contract, but they're bad for another year. Seahawks and Niners are pretty much where we expected, pretty much, right?
The interesting thing when you look at the Seahawks, right? They're 5-3, but their point differential says completely otherwise. They are a negative in point differential, not by a lot, but I think they're another one of those teams that's winning close games. And to be honest, they've only really beaten up bad teams other than Detroit. And
they beat the Browns too.
I'm not counting that one because you beat the Browns, but you beat the Browns with PJ Walker. Okay.
Yeah, that was true.
I mean, PJ Walker was his. I think it was his second start, but PJ Walker's arguably not a true NFL starter, but he started some games for Carolina and for Browns, so you got to give him his props. He's an XFL guy, USFL guy.
Yeah,
but no, I don't think Seattle's beaten anyone important other than Detroit. They have that one win against Detroit. But that win in Detroit also came with a lot of controversy. So, you did get, absolutely gifted from the refs that, what is his name? Not Hawkinson. Aiden Hutchinson completely held. Like jersey off to the side, just being yanked. And the ref doesn't even call it. And then Gino runs that same play into the end zone. I guarantee you Gino ain't running it. He ain't getting that far if he isn't getting held. So, and then they would have had to kick the field goal, and you don't know what the Lions would have done at that point. So the Lions could have done more throughout the game to not be in that point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that could have happened. Regardless, Seattle's won a lot of close games, but Seattle's also beat up a lot of bad teams. I don't think this team travels well on the road. I think they've just beaten a lot of bad teams on the road. And if you look at their conference record, I mean, they're 4-1 in the conference. That just means they're beating up all the bad NFC teams. To what I remember, I know they beat the crap out of Carolina. I mean, that was an easy dub. Easy dubs. So, not impressed. Seattle, I think I had Seattle like on the borderline of making the playoffs. Just based on overall about how bad the NFC is, they're probably making the playoffs. And for San Francisco, I mean, neither one of us had them losing, like 4 games? I think both of us had them like losing like 3 or 4 games.
13 and 14, I think, is what I had them.
So the fact that they're 5-3 at this point in the season is a little bit concerning.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at the point differential, I think they're okay. I mean, they have a better point differential than the Eagles, and the Eagles are, 8-1? I think they're going to be okay. I think this is just a rough patch. Essentially, all Brock Purdy needs is an easy win. He just needs a team to beat up on.
Yeah.
But you see, the problem is only certain teams get those bounce back games in which you get to beat up on a bad team right after a loss. So, unfortunately, he's getting thrown right back in the fire. But, maybe he can pull it off.
Yeah, I think for me, this division, I swear, I mean, I really did think the 49ers were going to run away. They're 5-3 now. I had them at 13-4. I'm kind of hard pressed to say that they're going to lose only one more game. Like, I think that they're probably going to lose at least 2 or 3 more. So I'm definitely going to revise that to 11-6. It's probably what they will finish. And then the Seahawks, I feel like they're going to finish around the same. I feel like as long as they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're going to have they're going to have one more game like the Lions where they probably should lose, but they're going to win. I think they still got the little luck and mystique of last season that is still on their side. So I think, it's going to come down to those 2 teams at the top. The Rams had them at 7-10. They probably going to be right there with the Cardinals. They probably not going to win another game, honestly. They
now with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he's the backup. Stafford's still out. I feel bad for Puka and Kupp because he's gonna have a gunslinger throwing to them, but he's definitely gonna throw some interceptions as well. So it's not looking too pretty. The Rams, if you're a Rams fan, man, it was looking good, and then now it's not. So I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, but I mean, we were pretty. I mean, not spot on, but we had a good feel for this division as well. Last division, y'all, NFC East. Eagles are running away, 8-1, best team, best record in NFL, by far the best record in NFC. We got the Cowboys, them boys, Commanders 4-5, and Giants are god awful. We had high expectations for the Giants. I think we both had them repeating.
I had them making the playoffs.
Yeah, we both had them repeating.
I had them making the playoffs over the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys were going to have a blunder every year, but I got to give the Cowboys where their props are due. They have a better point differential than the Eagles. Again, I don't know how much that is, like how pressing that is, but I think it's kind of an important stat. Like
the defense is legit. The offense is where it gets a little wishy washy.
Yeah, I mean they got to plug holes and they got to fix things up and. But that offense, well, they just signed Martavius Bryant to try to do something. I don't think that's your answer.
It's not.
I think the answer more lies in the fact of the running game. They don't have a power back anymore. And I think it's very clear that they have a hard time running the ball. And I'm not trying to say Pollard's trash or anything, but I mean, Pollard's a spread. He runs spreads and counters, and Pollard doesn't run the ball at the middle too often.
No,
he does, but that's not his forte. His forte is getting space and getting big yards. I think they come into a point in the season now where they need like cheap yards, kind of like the Eagles do all the time. When they need 1 or 2 yards. Elliott used to give that to him. Now they don't have that anymore. And you wanted something cheaper than Elliott. I don't know how you didn't get like a Latavius Murray that the Bills have or something. Like just anything to get you like cheap, easy yards. It's just one of those things that you can kind of see in the Cowboys the way they've been, I guess, fundamentally drawn up. And especially losing their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, to the Chargers. I mean, there's just missing holes on that offense, and you see it game to game. Eagles, dude, they can't just keep having this horseshoe. I mean, it's like there's a horseshoe just lodged up in their rear end, and it's impossible to pull out. And finally, the Commanders. I mean, maybe it was a good thing that you got rid of those 2 guys. Maybe it made your defense better. But in my opinion, like, you guys are fighting for a wild card spot. The rest of the conference is not very good. You guys can easily sneak into that 7th seed in the wild card. Where your brain is on making those kind of moves when you could be trying to, compete. I don't know. It doesn't look good for Ron Rivera. That's all I gotta say. It just kind of seems like they were ready to. The new owner's ready to revamp and restart, and Ron Rivera is saying, "Hey,
slow your roll."
I got players on this team that I can win with still, regardless. So, and to be fair, like their offense isn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say. The Giants are bad. Let's just get them out the way. Daniel Jones is out towards ACL. Very, very sad. Tyrod's out. Something with his ribs. So he's not playing. He was playing pretty well before he got hurt. And they're out the equation. We both thought they were on a repeat, going back to the playoffs. That's not going to happen, all right? So that's first off. Second of all, Eagles, I don't know. They've, one loss. Hey, that's okay. And, they had some close wins. Obviously, they got a lot of luck on their side, but the offense just doesn't look as potent. The offense just does not look as potent. At times it does, but especially now with Jalen Hurts, his knee is really bothering him. He took a shot last game where he, kind of struggled to get off the field, but he immediately went back in, still wearing that brace. I don't know. I mean, it's really concerning. I mean, if he's arguably your best player. If he's hobbled at all, at some point it's going to catch up to him, because you don't get healthier going into the season. You get, things get worse. So, especially if you're a running quarterback, especially nowadays where they can only hit you basically from your knees to basically where your gut is. I mean,
I think
he's asking for another injury. I mean,
it's that brotherly push. I mean, yes, it's unstoppable and everything, but you got to be thinking about with all those guys and all that weight and all those different movements going on down there, and he's just getting pushed from all different directions. That stuff's got to be banging up his knees. It's just got to be. And so, like, if the move is really that unstoppable, maybe you should get a backup quarterback in there that can just do a brotherly push or maybe you get the running back to take the handoff. But honestly, you should try to do something with that brotherly push. He's not in that scrap, just getting pushed to the front.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the byproduct, right? Like, yeah, it's unstoppable, but your quarterback's liable to get hurt because all that weight on his knees and stuff, like say, getting shoved everywhere. I mean, that's probably like the one negative.
I mean, you get all those guys in the bottom of the pile, someone's punching him in the side of the knee.
Yeah, for sure. And the way, I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are necessarily targeting his knees because they knew it was bothering him, but I mean, he took some couple of shots to the knees. I mean, I think it's just going to be like a low-key thing. Like, teams are like, all right, we know his knees kind of hobbled. Like, don't make it obvious, but you go for them knees. Like, I mean, that's what coaches do. They're going to take any little advantage they can. I mean, even if it is slightly dirty, they're gonna try to take that advantage. So that's a little concerning. The Cowboys, the defense is really, really impressive. The defense is legit. I mean, they lost Diggs, and Bland is still, my namesake Bland. He's out there balling, you know what I'm saying? They got Gilmore, he's balling. Parsons is a dog. I mean, the turnovers, the scoops and scores, the pick sixes, I mean, it's insane. But like we've been saying, the offense is just hit or miss, especially in the red zone. They don't have that power back, like you said. Like, they let Zeke go to the Patriots, but didn't really. I mean, what's their backup? The 5'6" guy, the 5'5" guy. Mm-hmm. He's not a power back, and he barely plays. So it's basically Pollard or bust. And I'm pretty sure he hasn't had a guy in there. And he hasn't had a 100-yard rushing game since the opener. So it's like you're basically Dak or bust. And we saw what happens. At least just this past Sunday, Dak or bust. He bust. He stepped out of bounds on a 2-point conversion. He had multiple tries at the end zone to end the game. Couldn't get it done. I mean, really going to put all your faith in Dak? Come on.
Dak's been running the ball a lot more, too, this season. And I don't know if that's just me paying attention to it a little bit more, or that's me just nitpicking it a little bit more, because I've been saying that, like, they lack that kind of a power-esque pusher in the run game. But I've seen Dak scramble a lot more to get out of the pocket and to get just free chunk yards. I mean, you got to think about it. Like that play where Dak ran to the outside to try to get that 2-point conversion. Last year, they would have tried to run that ball at the middle of Zeke.
Yeah,
you got that strong offensive line. Then I also think this also was it Dalton for the Texans, the tight end that left as well.
Yeah,
Dalton Schultz. I'm pretty sure he was good in the run game to push. There's just certain things that they're missing this year that I think it all goes back to Zeke. I think they miss Zeke. I think that's the biggest key, is they miss someone that can pound it in the middle. And everyone was just giving Zeke a hard time, like, oh, dude, your yards are going down every season. It's because they kind of found out what to use him perfectly for. Get me 2 yards, Zeke. Give me 3 yards, Zeke.
He will get you 2 or 3 yards. He will get you 2 or 3 yards. Last season, if they're in the red zone, if they're 10 yards from the goal line, we knew what they're doing. They're going to power. They're going to go straight up the middle, power, until they get inside. Now, I mean, with Pollard, you can't do that. And this is what we said in the beginning. We said, hey, Pollard, he's a nice running back. He probably is a starter, but he's going to get worn down, and he's not going to look as impressive. And what do you know? He doesn't look as impressive. It doesn't take a genius to kind of notice those things, but I guess it kind of does, because the Cowboys couldn't figure it out before we did. So I don't know. Maybe they need to give us a job, but it's just, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. The defense is good enough to carry them to the playoffs. Now, they're going to win a playoff game? Probably not. But, hey, we still got about, 8 weeks in order for us to figure that out. So, but other than that, we're pretty spot on with this division as well. But that's pretty much it. Hello there, and welcome to the MTL Sports Podcast. Thank you for watching this video clip of one of our most recent episodes. Please drop a like, drop a comment in the comment section below, and also please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with the most recent MTL Sports Podcast content. For those that don't know, we are also available on Spotify for those who listen audio only. Once again, thank you so much, and this is the MTL Sports Podcast. You whip up my ass.